The Dodgers place a bet on an injured all-star pitcher as opposed to a healthy all-star pitcher. Darvin Ham is the latest to slip on the "I think I can make Anthony Davis play center" banana peel. And Cooper Kupp has an injured foot. Ruh-roh. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is October 14th, 2022. I am once again stuck in Casa de Crackhead on the road somewhere in the Inland Empire to make money for the wife. It's life. Hey, if you like the content we put out about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. Because I am not perfect. I picked the Rams the last couple of weeks. I know I'm not perfect. Dumbass? Yes. Perfect? No. Now, before we go through the news and notes from around LA, we take a quick look at the scoreboard. Last night, I think we have to acknowledge the Kings just aren't looking that good. Seattle 4, Kings 1. Alex Iafallo scores, but the only bright spot I can really give you is the Kings right now are 0-2. Last year, they started off 1-5-1. Maybe this is par for the course. No idea. Meanwhile, today the Dodgers will be playing in San Diego at 5:30. That is Game 3 of the National League Divisional Series. Tony Gonsolin versus Blake Snell. We'll get you a little bit more on that, but I want to give you a programming note. Tomorrow, I will be broadcasting from Dignity Health Sports Park, somewhere in the parking lot with a beer in my hand before the game. If you're a Galaxy fan, if you watch this show, feel free to say hi. I'd like to meet a few people, clank some beers. Now, if you're a Dodgers fan, as I am, it's okay to look at tonight as kind of a bullpen game. You know, that kind of game where the manager just shrugs his shoulders and says, hell, I don't know if I have any pitchers I can trust out there right now. We'll just throw as many different arms out there and see how many of them hold up. See, because we have no idea how long Tony Gonsolin can go. Up until about a month and a half ago, the guy was lights out. He was pushing for a potential 20-win season. And then he had forearm problems. Sat out about a month. Now, they don't even know how much they can get out of Tony Gonsolin. They're hopeful for 4, and I've suggested in the last couple of weeks that you get 4 innings out of Gonsolin and then maybe 4 out of Andrew Heaney. Next thing you know, you're in the 9th inning. But that might not necessarily be the plan. The Dodgers do have other pitchers who, oddly enough, are also injured or coming off injury that they might want to throw out there for kicks. There's Dustin May, for example. Either way, the bottom line is this. LA is making a gamble because it is true that Gonsolin was an all-star, but so was Tyler Anderson, and they are intentionally holding him off to push him back to Game 4. It's a risk. And Dave Roberts, using the analytics speak that drives us all bananas whenever we hear analytics speak, is saying that he has made this choice to do whatever it takes to, quote, prevent runs. Who the hell ever talked about run prevention before analytics came about, I swear. By the way, I did post more information about Game 3 in yesterday's morning roundup, but I'll just give you a couple of quick ones before we move on with our lives. Tony Gonsolin, 2 starts against San Diego. He was 2-0, pitched 12 in the 3rd innings, only allowed 1 earned run. Blake Snell, on the other hand, 3 starts against the Dodgers. He was 0-1. He allowed 6 runs in 14 innings. He did strike out 23 people in those 14 innings, but he also allowed 22 base runners. So you take it out what you will. Now, as for the fact that the series is tied, look, you can find scapegoats anywhere if you look hard enough. And I get it. Trace Thompson so far is 0 for 6. Mookie Betts is 1 for 8. All I'm going to say to you guys, and I believe this, is that one error cost the Dodgers Game 2. And even after that error allowed the game-winning run to cross in the 6th inning, the Dodgers still had multiple chances to tie the game. They just didn't get a clutch hit. It's been known to happen in baseball. Chris Taylor, by the way, is going to start tonight in left field over Trace Thompson, in case you're wondering. Lakers coach Darvin Ham has boldly gone where every other coach that Anthony Davis has done. Same path. Hey, AD, Anthony, Tony D, we were wondering, would you kind of mind playing center, please? Kind of, sort of. Literally going up to Anthony Davis and acting the way I did when I was trying to ask girls in high school for their phone numbers. I mean, I will say this, though. There is a difference between Anthony Davis and the girls who shot me down in high school. And it's that the girls who shot me down in high school did not refer to themselves in the third person when they shot me down. Darvin Ham, after speaking with Anthony Davis, the scribes go up to Anthony Davis, and Davis says, quote, "I'm pretty sure he heard AD wants to play the 4, so he knows where I stand," unquote. Anthony Davis referring to himself in the third person. I really only think you should refer to yourself in the third person when you are a top 5 player, maybe. I think Davis is on the periphery of the top 10, somewhere in the top between 10 and 15. That's not good enough to refer to yourself in the third person, sir. Just saying. Now, granted, in that same interview, Davis said he would play the 5, but I'm going to be frank, we've heard that before. We heard that when Frank Vogel was coach of the Lakers. We heard that when Anthony Davis was in New Orleans. He says to the public, "I'll play the center." And then the next thing you know, he's playing power forward, which tells me, behind closed doors, he's probably saying something much different. Other Laker notes during the preseason game, Patrick Beverley huddles up the players and Russell Westbrook did not join in. And then everybody gasped. And then everybody clutched their pearls and they went to TMZ and snitched. And then if they didn't have pearls, they reached over to the woman next to them and strangled her with her pearls in a panic over Russell Westbrook. Dude, it's a preseason game. Who cares? TMZ, you didn't have to report it. It is not that big a deal. Injuries have been spreading through the Rams roster like a disease. And I'm here to tell you, when you think about how many players are like getting crushed on the Rams, all things being equal, I would almost rather have syphilis. Because that's just penicillin and you go on with your life, I hear. No, I mean, it's like, look, you're talking about a half a dozen defensive backs injured, 7 offensive linemen have been in and out of the lineup, and now Cooper Kupp is dealing with a foot injury. Now, he's saying he doesn't think he's going to miss Sunday's game, that it's all about managing pain. But considering he's the only guy producing anything on that Rams offense, don't you think you ought to wrap Cooper Kupp in bubble wrap or something? Put him in submerge him in a vat of like protective gelatin so nothing hits him? I don't know. Coach Sean McVay was asked about left tackle Joe Noteboom, who has replaced Andrew Whitworth this season, and did not exactly give a gleaming, sparkly, happy time review. Quote, "He's still a young developing player, but we want to be able to see that growth and maturation occur a little more quickly," unquote. Yeah, that's not what you want to read on your biannual job review when you're up for your cost of living increase. Look, Noteboom, there's a reason that McVay's response was so measured. Noteboom has been responsible for 5 sacks, according to Pro Football Focus. 5. That is tied for the most an offensive lineman has allowed this year. Meanwhile, in marginal good news for the Rams, tight end Bryson Hopkins, his 3-game suspension for performance-enhancing stuff is over. Here's hoping he goes through the front door of the vitamin shop in the future as opposed to the guy in the back alley. Clippers preseason is over. Kawhi Leonard finished it healthy, which is good. Kawhi Leonard only played 33 minutes, which gives me pause. You remember, this guy was an MVP candidate when he came over to the Clippers. He brought a world championship to Toronto. They didn't even know what to do with the trophy. They had never seen one. So Kawhi Leonard did in fact have game, but at 33 minutes in the preseason, and again, I'm not expecting the guy to go Iron Man in the preseason. I'm just saying we have to tap the brakes before we know for a fact Kawhi Leonard can still play like Kawhi Leonard. By the way, the regular season for the Clippers begins against the Lakers on October 20th, next Thursday. UCLA football coach Chip Kelly told Colin Cowherd how he heard about UCLA making the move to the Big Ten. He was golfing. Quote, I said, okay, when is that going to happen? And they said 2 years. And I was like, well, all right, give me a call in 2 years, basically. And then he hung up. Because, you know, golf. Am I right? By the way, UCLA, they're in an off week, but they have held 3 practices this week. It's focused solely on fundamentals, blocking, tackling, which is honestly is the right way to go about things, right move. Random question for USC fans. I've been kicking this around in my head. And by the way, if you're a UCLA fan, I invite you to answer this question in the comments thread as well. Had USC not hired Lincoln Riley, how far behind would the Trojans be to UCLA right now? Now, I'm not talking about them keeping Clay Helton. Hell no, that's not where I'm going. Say they hire an offensive coordinator from the NFL. Say they hire the hot young coach from God knows where university. How much farther behind would they be to UCLA? Because if it's not Lincoln Riley, I don't think USC and UCLA are neck and neck like they are right now. You tell me. Like to hear it. By the way, there's going to be there is a preview, I should say, of the USC-Utah game tomorrow. Look for it on the USC playlist. We talk Trojans football there. Finally, if it matters, there are very few people that I would describe as MLS, quote, experts, unquote. 2 self-proclaimed MLS experts are at MLSsoccer.com, and they believe LAFC will predict that the Black and Gold will win MLS Cup. Another one sees the LA Galaxy getting to the final, but losing to Montreal. But you tell me what you think, especially tomorrow when I'm out at the Diggity. Thanks, guys, for joining me today. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day here. Thanks for watching. I'm James. I'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kia and Corta El Piso production. Take care.